Have you ever struggled with an addiction issue, either personally or from someone you cared about? Me too, you're not alone. As a matter of fact, last year, 110,000 people died from overdoses. Yes, 110,000. Additionally, 108,000 teens went to treatment for substance use disorder last year. Any one of those 110,000 could be one of the next 110,000 to die from an overdose. That's why this is such an important issue to solve. Let's watch this powerful video that shows the problem and a solution. If you don't know me, my name is Greg Woolley. I am co-founder and chairman of the board of Florida Recovery Schools. We help young people struggling with addiction issues from 14 to 19 years old by providing a safe place for them to be educated from typical peer pressures so that they might heal, thrive, and learn how to live a drug-free life. We focus on teens who are heading in a less than desirable direction and get them on the right path. We provide education with a different twist, which is where we focus on healing hearts, which I will share a little bit more with you later. We started Florida Recovery Schools of Central Florida in 2019. We made a commitment this year because we didn't want to just serve virtually. We were serving virtually then. We decided this year to pull back, gain some community support, and to be able to find a permanent home where we could serve our young people in person. This meant taking this year off, like I said, and we're looking for support, and that's why we're here. As I mentioned earlier, 108,000 teens went to treatment for substance use disorder, so it can happen to any family. It doesn't care about race or creed or whatever, or rich or poor. It can definitely happen to any young person, any family. No one is immune. So today we're going to focus on how Florida Recovery Schools is having a positive impact and helping them to create a substance abuse-free future. So, a little bit about my story. Most people would look at me and think, he had a pretty easy, probably had an easy childhood. He seems to be doing all right, but that really wasn't the case. I had been through a lot as a young person due to a challenging childhood that consisted of abusive behavior from a family member and peer pressure to fit in. I found myself self-medicating at a really early age of 8 years old. What started out as a heavenly high turned into a hell that I couldn't seem to find my way out of. Hitting rock bottom with 4 DUIs by the age of 21 and numerous times in trouble with the law, I felt like I couldn't get past my addictive behaviors. I was in a system that tried to punish the problem away, and it became like a vicious cycle where I was hurt and I drank because I didn't like myself, and I did things because. So what changed? What changed? For 33 years now, I've been on a path to wellness and recovery. Had I stayed on the path of substance use and abuse, I really don't think I would be here today. I would either be in jail or I would be in the graveyard. I never want what happened to me and everything that I went through and the loneliness and isolation that I felt to happen to another young person. Every day, young people are impacted by substance use and abuse and they're going down the wrong path. If we don't find a way to heal the hurts of our youth, they will become the hurt people who hurt people who hurt people, and the cycle continues. I co-founded Florida Recovery Schools as a nonprofit because there's a huge gap between the hurting and the healing that they need. So they usually don't end up getting it until years later. So the first times that they get in trouble, they don't have the services that they need that could keep them out of prison and out of the graveyard now. As I said earlier, 108,000 teens went to treatment for substance use disorder. But that's just the ones who are financially able to go there. That doesn't include the ones who don't have that option and are caught up in the juvenile justice system and or are just suffering in silence alone. At Florida Recovery Schools of Central Florida, we're committed to providing a healthy, healing environment where recovery is celebrated and supported. This is important because our kids can be away from the typical peer pressures from the day-to-day life and thrive in a school and social environment. As we go along today, I'd like to make sure to make the most of our time together and that we're on the same page. I want to cover with you a few things. Because of limited times, if you could hold your questions and get with me afterwards for a private talk, I would really appreciate that so we don't take up all of our time answering individual questions in our group time. So if what I'm saying resonates with you, I'd really like to, and you'd like to support us through time, resources, or advocacy, I'll share the next steps in a little bit. Let's watch this video about Anna Reed, our co-founder, who really inspired this movement and inspired me to walk alongside her to bring this vision of a recovery school to life. She had to step down because she was having some health. So I would like to talk to you specifically about how Florida Recovery Schools is designed to create a healthy, healing environment where recovery is supported and celebrated. We created the Hope, Heart, and Healing Pathway to help young people realize that change is possible through connecting with a heart-based support system, enabling them to heal and create a brighter future. Let's talk about how we provide hope, heart, in our healing pathway. Let's talk about how we provide hope in our Hope, Heart, and Healing Pathway. When a young person is struggling with substance use issues, they often feel alone. They feel unsure and insecure, unloved and uncared about. They usually have lots and lots of self-esteem issues, self-care issues, from low self-confidence and low self-esteem. Their self-talk is usually negative and abusive. They always feel like they are bad, not sick people trying to get well. They don't know where to turn because they either don't feel that they belong or the peer group that they have pushes them into using substances again and again. It's a vicious cycle that often leads to the doors of the prison or, worse, the gates of the graveyard. With our program, the teens realize that they can end the vicious cycle because we provide real hope that things can change and their life doesn't have to stay the same and possibly get even worse. After hope becomes our next step, which is heart. The teens go from hope to where they see things can change. Heart is where they can realize they don't have to go it alone. So they feel that they are supported and that they are loved. These teens usually see authority figures and adults as their enemy, so they feel like they don't have nowhere to turn. We provide a judgment-free space because they know that we will love them until they can love themselves. We will walk alongside them. The teens go from hope to where they see things can change to heart. This is where they realize that they don't have to go it alone and they are getting the support they deserve. The teens usually still see authority figures and adults as their enemy. They feel like they don't have anywhere to turn. We provide a judgment-free space because they know we will love them until they can love themselves. We walk alongside them where they are, not where everyone says they should be. They have the staff support, and they also have the support of the other students in the program who are dealing with the same things they are. These teens start to feel fully supported, loved, and cared for because most of the staff have been exactly where they are and have overcome the same challenges they've experienced. They no longer feel alone because they know what it is like to be cared for and supported. And the final part of our Hope, Heart, and Healing Pathway is healing. So now let's talk about healing. When a teen comes into our program, they either don't have a peer group to fit in or they are pressured by their peer group to participate in substance use. They often fear being labeled as an alcoholic or an addict from family or friends. We focus on healing first, and the education part becomes a natural part of the process. Once the teens are able to recognize that we are here to support them until they love themselves, they start to shift quickly and want to learn and want to focus on their education, and they want to succeed. We create a low pressure, high praise daily experience that they can thrive in. We give them a safe place to be educated away from the regular pressure of high school. Plus, we check in with every student every day and ensure they start the day on a positive note with an affirmation. We call them daily wellness check-ins. We also provide a process where the students can communicate when they are struggling and not doing well. They don't feel the pressure to share something personal if they are struggling in public. Since we look at the student not just as an individual, but as a whole, as a whole family unit, we have family certified peer support specialists that get involved with the family and meet them where they're at also. So they can have one-on-one coaching to grow in the family, and they can also have group support to be able to grow in a group. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about JJ's story. JJ was with us for a little bit over 2 years. JJ got involved with us whenever he was 17. JJ had a lot of stuff going on. He was on probation, and very much like me when I was still using, probation always seemed to come with violation. He was having a really hard time staying clean long enough to pass a drug test. JJ was having problems at home, problems at school, problems pretty much most everywhere he went. He was a very angry young man, and it was only getting worse. And first coming into contact with Florida Recovery Schools of Central Florida, he wanted to do better. Then he would rebel, and he would fall off the track. Then it was like a roller coaster at first, and then he would come back to us. And whenever he was ready to start again, being we're not really a punitive school, we would start at day one again if he was willing to try. Little by little, we got to know him, and he got to know us. His walls slowly come down, and he went from being very angry to making connection with us. Day by day, slowly, seeing and feeling that we cared, and that we would be there for him if he was willing to get honest and willing to try. For the last year, JJ and I really connected emotionally, and he started to work on himself, setting goals. We were able to celebrate JJ's first time ever passing a drug test, getting his first job, and his first year substance free. And JJ graduated at the end of May with us, when we were still operating virtually. We celebrated JJ's graduation with go-karts and a slingshot, which he wanted to do, and so I got the pleasure of doing that with him. And as you can see, our Hope, Heart, and Healing Pathway is a process that provides teens with everything they need to gain support, wisdom to be substance-free, while they have access to an education that will serve them in their future careers and in their life. Remember when I shared earlier that 108,000 teens were going into treatment for substance use disorder? Any one of those teens could be someone to die from an overdose. Imagine if one of those was your daughter, your son, a niece, a nephew. Imagine if one of those were your teens going to treatment, and they got out and they had nowhere to turn for you put them back with their regular high school. It's almost like signing a death sentence. Sadly, and none of us wants to see that happen. That's why we need your support in any way that you can, whether it's through supporting through time, resources, or advocacy. We would love your help. And we are really on the path looking for a new executive director. And if you know anyone that might want to support in that capacity, we would love the opportunity to talk to them and partner with them and have them partner with us. In a moment, we're going to provide you with a short form to complete, letting us know how you would like to support us. If we're in person, we'll have these forms for you to fill out. And if you're online, Shannon will get you over a form to fill out online. So with that, we would offer you to support us through contributing your time, your talents, your resources, such as donations, supplies, being an ambassador, join the advisory team to help us with ideas and moving forward, connecting with us to corporate sponsors, receiving progress reports and updates, and join our mailing list, attending our next town hall, which is coming up October 24th, inviting friends or connections to the town hall gathering, or if you're interested in attending our fundraising events and helping us promote them, please give me a call and review ideas and how I can help. Remember, your support can fit your needs, and we'll find a way for you to help and be involved. We appreciate anything you can do. Let me end with a final thought. I wrote this poem several years ago, and it still really applies to our children today. Some cherish their diamonds, others value their pearls. The country's most valuable assets are its young boys and girls. For what use is a full coin purse or a vault full of gold if we're left without love when we're dying and old? Teach children well and set them well on their way for a much brighter tomorrow and a much better today. When it comes down to it, our greatest natural resource is our young men and women set well on their course. So it takes time to teach, and it takes time to pray. And it takes time to care, for we're all on a journey, and a journey we're all meant to share. So for the sake of today and for the hopes of tomorrow, help teach our young well and keep them from sorrow. More precious than diamonds, so much warmer than gold, is a love that gives back when we're dying and old.